you headbang every intro music we do.
Because they're good.
And thank you. I picked those on purpose, mainly because they're not copyrighted. And
that's pretty.
Speaking of getting in trouble, okay, we've done some ones that were funny. You've given me some great suggestions.
Yes,
but I also know that there's more to the dynamic than two guys who've worked together, two veterans, two dads, two beards. There are other things about us that people don't know.
Yeah.
And I thought now would be a good time to talk about some of those things because there are people out there who need to know that they're not alone with some certain things.
No. So, you and I have talked about this, and I'm not one who's shy about what's going on in my life.
No, not shy.
I battle with depression. Come to find out, I've dealt with depression almost my entire life. Didn't really manifest till 2011. I lost my dad to cancer. My ex-wife wanted to get separated. Then I found out my grandmother, who I loved dearly, had cancer. I lost her a month and a half later. And I got divorced on what would have been the day after my 9th anniversary. And then I lost my great-grandfather a year and 2 days after I lost my dad.
Any one or two of those in a short period of time would be overwhelming for most people.
Right. So, and I started going to therapy, and I got on antidepressants. But the one thing about therapy that I promised myself is, if I'm going to do this, I have to be completely and totally honest, because we're good friends.
Yeah.
But there are certain things that I am never going to tell you. You're never going to tell me. And there are certain things that, and I love my wife completely and totally, but there are things that deep down inside of each one of us, we're never going to tell anybody else.
Well, through vulnerability, through fear, through
right.
I hope I don't feel rejection from that. All the things that cause depression, anxiety, all these other things.
Right.
They're the things that will keep you from getting rid of it sometimes.
Correct.
Or getting past part of it.
Correct. And unfortunately, my depression manifests in suicidal tendencies.
Okay. And when you told me that before, I made the joke of not the band,
right,
which is awesome. This is not the band, which is horrible.
Right.
Now, before you go any further, I would like to say that I suffer from anxiety, but I don't suffer from depression. So the stuff he's telling me, can I relate to it? Yes. But can I relate to it in the way that Mike is sharing with us? I can't. I've never in my life, I lost both of my fathers within 6 months of each other.
Right.
I've been through divorce. I've struggled with being laid off.
Yep.
We all went through COVID this last year. We're still dealing with it.
Yes.
But my loss manifests itself in anxiety.
Right.
Yours develops into something different.
Correct. I've actually attempted suicide since 2011 5 times.
And you and I have known each other.
Yes.
That whole time.
Yes. Yes.
And I wouldn't think that. I would never, because, okay, here's the thing. For those of you that are out there, if you check out Mike on Instagram or on his Facebook, the stuff he posts is usually super dad, super husband, super cooking.
Yeah.
Just the joie de vivre, the love of life. Okay.
Yes.
And everyone that sees me, I'm always got everything under control. I've got all this stuff and I'm doing all this. It's just go, 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 go.
Right.
But people don't realize that when the camera turns off, I'll sit here for 2 hours stressing about and having anxiety about, well, I hope people like the video.
Yeah.
Those comments suck.
Yeah.
Oh my God, they hate me.
Yep.
I go through that too. Okay. So it's easy to set on a camera, me push a button and us go,
Wow.
everything is perfect. Look how awesome we are. But for everyone out there, we're all in this together. So
Right. So I'm not shy about my story, because if I can help one person know that they're not alone and there is help and there is a brighter day tomorrow, then I'll share my story and I'll scream it from the top of the lungs. I have 3 beautiful children. I have 2 daughters and I have a son. And to be completely honest with you, they are 99% of why I couldn't go through with my suicidal plans. Because my kids need a dad. I am not the perfect dad. I am not the perfect husband. But my children and my wife need me to provide for them, to protect them, and
that's where, for a lot of us out there, you need to understand. Yes, sometimes whether it be alcoholism, drug abuse, depression,
which I am an alcoholic.
Yeah, they are all symptoms of a disease that technically, in most cases, can be treated. It never really goes away. So every day, that's a fight that you either win or you lose every day. And you can't, just like with anxiety and everything else, like depression, you can't think big picture. You have to focus on this moment. What am I going to do in the next minute or so? But can't dwell on the past, because that's where it all comes from.
That's a destiny.
And so what we're going to do now is we react to music videos. At least I do.
Yeah.
But when Mike brought this up to me earlier when we're having our morning coffee, he said, there's a song. You do Five Finger Death Punch and stuff.
Yeah.
And you had said a song called Coming Down about teenage angst, depression, suicide, social media, and everything.
Right.
And I was like, yeah, that's cool. We'll do that one. And by the way, we're going to do that one next. But I said, before we do that one, and you said, here's an idea. Before we do that one, let's show everybody us.
Yeah.
And what we go through every day. So there's another song about those problems, those deep-seated problems that people struggle with every day.
Right.
And it came out a while back when the lead singer of Disturbed had an ex-girlfriend or a girlfriend?
A girlfriend.
A girlfriend commits suicide.
Yeah. Basically, how it is in the video is how he found her.
So with that, maybe we should check it out.
Yes.
And then we can both share some thoughts.
Yep.
And listen, if you're out there and you are this person like us, I mean, you don't have spectacular beards like us, but if you... and you're not fat like us, but if you...
let's hope not.
I hope not. If you relate to any of the things that Mike has said or I have said or anything you see in this video, don't go away. At the end of the video, Mike's going to talk about some of the things that he does every day that help him get to the next day. And I know that on the end of this video, I've never seen the video. I've heard the song, but I know that there's a whole pre-part of the song. And at the end, they will share some information that might help you.
Yes.
Okay. So let's get started with this. This is going to be Disturbed, Inside the Fire, the official video. What? Huh?
So another reason why this came out, we mentioned in a couple of other videos that I'm coming. One of the reasons I came down here is because we're actually going to head to a funeral here in a couple of hours to a coworker I've known over 15 years.
And I've known for 10.
Yeah, and he actually committed suicide.
Yeah, and when Mike called me, gave me the news that our coworker had taken his life, I was in disbelief because I didn't see that. Like,
nope.
He didn't seem to be that a person. But see, that's the thing. The problem with depression and suicidal thoughts and stuff, it could be someone that you would consider to be the most fulfilled, successful, happiest person in the world. You don't know what's going on inside someone's head or their heart. Huh?
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams, the funniest, most jovial person in the world. I mean, Anthony Bourdain.
Yeah.
Like when Dave Chappelle in the comedy special makes a comment, the guy had the best job on the planet.
God, yes.
He traveled around the world eating the most amazing food and eating those food with the most amazing people. And that guy with that job took his own life. So this is Disturbed Inside the Fire. Of course, the link to this video will be in the description. Like and subscribe to the channel, of course. But it's not so much about the channel right now. It's about us talking to all of you.
Yes.
And letting you know that...
if you're going through these things, you're not alone. And there are people like you. There are people just like me who who suffer with different things, and there is help out there. And all you have to do is reach for it, because no matter how far down that dark rabbit hole you are, there is a light.
Yeah. Just have to take a moment to stop. And if you can't find it on your own,
somebody's willing to help you.
Yeah.
No matter how alone you are.
Even if it's us, and we're pretty useful for everything at this point.
Yeah.
Yeah. Here we go. This is Disturbed Inside the Fire.
My name is David Draymond. I sing for the band Disturbed. The video you are about to see contains a very sensitive subject, suicide. It is unfortunately a subject that is close to me, having dealt with an actual occurrence of it many years ago. If you or someone you know is in crisis or are having thoughts of suicide, please call the National Suicide Prevention Hotline at 1-800-273-8255.
Now the video is going to play. I will come back to this screen, so it's here. And then when we come back to the screen, we'll share a little bit more before we end. But remember, don't freak out if this goes away for the video, because we're going to come back to here. I'm sorry. It was your ears. My bad. Because we're a reaction channel.
Yeah, we gotta stop.
We have to stop at least a little bit.
Yeah.
Mainly because as much as we want to keep playing the song, two things. Number one, Warner Brothers will ban this shit. It's just, that's business. But the other thing is you cannot do any song with Disturbed, no matter what the subject matter is, without talking about their sound. Disturbed was really one of those, they were really a band that came out in that new metal pop.
Right.
And it was the part of metal, it was that portion of metal genre that I missed. I stepped away from because I was doing more jazz, blues, folk music.
I jumped right on that.
And that's when you jumped on it. You know,
yeah.
Well, you had been on it forever, but
yeah,
that's when you really like.
I like Disturbed because they didn't sound like everything else that was out there.
They were unique. They did do a lot of Skillet does it.
Mm-hmm.
They do it, and a few other ones that do that backing track loop.
Yes.
That has that techno feel, but it's not driven, like it's not keyboard driven.
No.
Like, you know, it's like some Bon Jovi shit. But anyway, I had to do that one. But I think some of it was his voice.
Yes.
The noises he makes, his laugh, that maniacal laugh he does. It's an evil maniacal laugh.
I love
his the monkey call out on that one song. Yeah, that one. But also he was known for their live shows and stuff.
Yes.
They were part of that. There's one band that I kind of got into because they did a lot more alternative folk percussion stuff in their metal albums. Was Godsmack.
Oh,
people don't realize that
Godsmack.
People don't realize that Godsmack is actually a Wiccan alternative religious band. They started off as kind of a Wiccan feel band.
Well, Sully is Wiccan.
Yeah. And Sully brings that feel to that sound, but he also brings the multitudes of different percussion that he loves.
Well, you know, he was a drummer for over 20 years before Godsmack started.
Well, he's still a drummer.
Well,
because
he went to the lead singer because him and his bandmates got into a fight.
Works for me.
So
it worked out really well for him.
Yes.
But one thing that I do know, and I have seen the video, I'm not pleased because before everybody starts throwing, oh, Godsmack, you should check out the dual drumming video. I've actually seen where Sully and the drummer of Godsmack have dueling drum solos in a concert. Okay, so you've seen it. Yeah, he's seen it. So then he's seen it in real life. Yeah. But going back to Disturbed, the lead singer, all the band members are very, very talented. Mm-hmm. They have a great sound together. They work well together. But everyone, when they think of Disturbed thinks of his voice, his unique sounds that he makes, his laugh, and all that other stuff, and his very unusual piercings he had. Those hooks that came down over his chin. He had them for years. When he did the Sound of Silence video, he didn't have them.
Oh. Right.
So, I mean, I'm sure you could take them out and put them back in.
Woo. Go with it.
It's easier to see it on this side, so we'll put it on this side. Crazy song. The imagery is haunting.
Yes.
Even if you've never considered suicide, depression, if you've never had anyone that you know who has committed suicide, the images are haunting and are very much in your face because you can't avoid them. But before we get into the message and before we talk about some of the things that we need to talk about, one of the things that's iconic for me about Disturbed, other than the lead singer, is the drumming and the arrangement. Now, you've watched enough of my videos to know that you know I'm a drummer.
Yes.
You've seen behind the green screen all the stuff lining my wall.
I've seen.
It's not like there was a device. I have no little people. Anyway, so, well, the 11-year-old's kind of small. But the thing about it is that I look for stuff in drumming that is, okay, if I want to watch Joey Jordison or Mike Portnoy, all right, if I want to watch someone or the drummer from Meshuggah on Bleed, right? If I want to watch a drummer that will literally push a piece of equipment to the point of it might friction explode, fine. But I really like when drummers do a breakdown.
Yes.
And in the arrangement, step away from just the straight push. Like during the choruses, you'd think he would drive that, but instead he broke down in a tom walk, which is where he gets away from the cymbals, away from the snare, and he does that doom 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 doom, and he's not sticking with the beat. He's doing it on off beats, and he's walking it down, and it gives that. It's like a breakdown without anyone else having to slow down with him. I really dig that sound.
And I love percussion.
Yeah,
I can't carry a tune with a 5-gallon bucket.
It's okay,
but I think it's it gives a song a little haunting quality.
It does, but a lot of their songs are haunting.
Oh God, yes.
Okay, so getting back to what we originally talked about, and the reason why we're really here is, yes, we do love Disturbed, we do love this song, but there's a deeper meaning here.
Right.
We just want to make sure that everyone knows that when you see anybody on social media or you see anyone on YouTube and they're just, everything is great, when I come up here and I'm like, hey, welcome in, da 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 da, we're real people too.
Yes.
Well, I can't speak for him. Especially me. I know I'm just a guy. Just a guy. I got a job. I got kids.
Bills, responsibilities.
And to me, mine manifests as anxiety. And you know what? Anxiety can be just as dangerous to someone as depression, because my anxiety may very well kill me one day because my body will just give out on it. But no matter how the struggles of life manifest in all of us, do not do this alone. I know, especially now, that if Mike starts having these thoughts and these problems, he's going to give me a buzz. There won't be any reactions the next day because I'll probably be in Houston, check on my boy.
Okay.
And vice versa.
Right. So one of the things I've done is back in 2011 when all this manifested, figured out that I was actually been battling depression most of my life, but because of everything that happened, it finally manifested.
It just you couldn't get away from it anymore.
Right. It went from the back of my brain to full consuming. Right. So talk to my therapist, and the one thing is you have to find a therapist that you're comfortable with, because the first therapist I went to, I went in there. I promised myself I was going to be brutally honest, which more than I normally am, because you know how honest I am. And him and I didn't click. So I found another therapist, and luckily she called me on my bullshit. Because I would say some things and she'd be like, no, why don't we talk about that a little bit more? Because I'm the kind of person that I need people to call me on my BS. But I'm going off on a tangent. We found the right medication for me. So the right therapist, be honest, and make sure you're on the right med. Now, I will say that because of my addiction issue, I've been sober since 1997.
Which is impressive, by the way.
Right. And I actually quit drinking when I was in the Marine Corps, because they were threatening to send me to...
Did they give you a medal for that? Because that's pretty much an accomplishment.
No, they threatened me with other things if I didn't quit drinking, because I almost got myself kicked out.
Dear God.
So just a little bit more about my backstory. So because of my addictions, I don't like taking medicine at all, like any kind of medicine.
It makes sense.
So, I don't even like taking Advil.
Is it a loss of control thing, you think? Like, do you want to turn over?
No, it's that makes me feel good, let's have some more.
Oh, okay.
I have addictive personality. And one of my major problems with alcohol is that you could sit and have a beer and barbecue. Mm-hmm. I'll pass out. One's too many and 10's not enough, because I don't know how to enjoy a buzz. I'm just like, oh, it feels good. Give me more and more and more and more and more. So anyway, so I was on antidepressants from 2011, and with my doctor's orders, I weaned myself off in 2013. Okay. In 2014, I actually lost my mom to suicide.
I know that story.
Yep. Lost my mom to suicide, which, you know, God bless you. Love you, Mom. Then I got married in 2015 to my beautiful wife, Susan.
Mm-hmm.
The ending of 2016, right around November time, I felt myself slipping down the rabbit hole, as I call it. Meaning, I started having doubts, and I started having that little voice in my head talking to me. You know, basically saying, this is too much, you know, you should kill yourself. And like an idiot, and like the big, tough, burly man that in our generations that we're supposed to be.
Yeah, when we grew up, men were men, and sheep ran nervous.
Yeah. You didn't cry, didn't show emotion.
No.
You didn't do any of that.
That's a lot of the reason why when I do videos now that I've matured,
yeah,
things that I wouldn't cry about as a kid or as a teenager or young person, like those of you you saw I cried for a BB King video because it reminded me of a touching guy that I met one time. We know was an amazing guitarist. That brought me to tears watching the video back because my emotions are much more free than they were when I was younger because of the way we were raised.
Right. So that happened. Fast forward to March of 2017, and it was so bad that every day I had 5 different plans of how I was going to kill myself. And it just would replay in my mind over, and finally, something happened between me and my ex-wife and my daughters, and it was a straw that broke the camel's back. And I had a plan. I knew how I was going to do it. I actually had my pistol with me. And I was driving home, and I knew I was going to turn off on this road and just disappear because everybody else would be better off without me. And I ended up missing that turn, and I drove home. And I had a gift from my wife. It was right when Yeti Cups came out. I walked in. Never mind. I put it down, and I looked at her, and I started crying. And I walked straight into my room, and I locked the door, and I was like ugly crying, like snot coming out of my nose, and just I was overwhelmed. And my wife's beating on the door, and you know, my poor son at the time didn't understand what was going on. So I finally opened up the door. We told my son to go play upstairs, and she's like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "I can't do this." She's like, "What can't you do?" And I looked at her straight in her face, and I said, "I don't want to kill myself." And the look of horror on her face. And she goes, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I've been having thoughts of suicide for 4 months." And she put her hands on my face, and she goes, "We can deal. You need to help. I will figure out a way to help you." She goes, "But we need to get."
Yeah.
And that's what I needed to hear because I hadn't heard that before in any of my other relationships.
Yeah.
You know, and she pulled me near, and I cried like a baby. I cried like an absolute baby because this woman loved me enough to hold me close and say, "It's going to be okay." So, long story short, I'm back on my medicine. Work actually helped me out. Got a therapist. Went back to my old therapist. So, and again, in the back of my mind, I was like, I don't want to be on pills for the rest of my life. So, with my doctor's consent, again, about a year later, about 2 weeks, I weaned myself off my meds. I didn't tell my wife. I didn't tell anybody. And about 6 days after I took my last dose, I had a suicidal thought. I said, nope, I'm going to be on these for the rest of my life.
Yeah.
And let me give you the reason behind this. So, depression and anxiety and everything is a chemical imbalance in the brain. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but it's a chemical imbalance in the brain. So, if you have high blood pressure, if you have high cholesterol, if you have restless leg syndrome like I do, you're going to take a little bitty pill and to help you. So, I have depression, which is a chemical imbalance in my brain. So if I take this pill every day, not only am I going to be a better person, a safer person, I'm going to be a better father. I'm going to be a better employee. I'm going to be a better husband. I'm going to enjoy my life more than having all these, excuse my language, fucked up thoughts in my head.
Watch your fucking language.
Yeah. So I apologize. One more thing. So, especially men out there, and not taking anything away from women, it's not weak for you to have depression. No. It's not weak for you to have emotional issues. Get help. Be honest with yourself. Because I'm 47 years old. I grew up in a time where men didn't cry, and if you did, you got your ass beat.
I was there.
You know, I'm not a big huggy person, but I am with my kids. I hug my kids. I kiss my kids. I kiss my son. I tell my son I love him every day. How many times did your dad tell you he loved you?
Which one?
Well, you know what I mean.
Twice.
Yeah. Same with me and my dad. I knew my dad loved me,
but to show it is.
Yeah.
Here's a lot of what we're saying. It doesn't matter where you're from. It doesn't matter what gender you are, what your role is in life. But we can only speak from ourselves.
Right.
I can only speak as one bearded dude that came from a man is a man background. Same thing with Mike.
Right.
And we're just trying to share some of the thoughts we're having with all of you because the last year's kind of sucked for everybody, okay? We're
Correct.
all facing things we've never had to face before. Different stresses. Mine manifests in anxiety. I have to take a pill for my anxiety. Mike deals with depression and probably anxiety too because...
Actually, no. I've only had one anxiety attack, and it was in linens and all places.
Well, there's your problem. This is all linens and things thoughts. You should have went to Bed Bath & Beyond. But what I'm saying is, yeah, I need a sponsorship from Bed Bath & Beyond for that.
Oh,
one.
dude.
But no. But anyway, all kidding aside, the reason why we're here is, yeah, we use Disturbed to come on the screen, and that's great. And we're using this channel because of all of you have followed my channel, and that's great too. But I wanted Mike to share his story with all of you because here's the thing. No matter what's going on, no matter what you face, it's so important to drop the bravado, drop the walls. This is specifically to you tough guy men out there.
Yeah.
You need to find somebody to talk to. And if you can't talk to your kids and you can't talk to your wife because you have this pseudo thought process of, I have to be super strong, Dad. Yeah, I am that guy. And so is Mike. There are people out there. For every issue in the world, there's a hotline for it.
Yep.
Go back and watch the 5-Finger Death Punch, Wrong Side of Heaven. There was a list that went on for 3.5 minutes of veteran support groups. There are support groups. There are people, they don't want your money.
No.
They are literally there because they've been there and they can help you with that. Luckily for us, I think the only good thing that has come out of COVID and has come out of the war since 9/11 has been that mental health for men has become an open issue now. And with COVID, although it's a tragic thing, and I just had a friend of mine from work lose his wife, okay? And I had another friend of mine lose his wife. She's a teacher, he's a teacher, and I mean, you just don't know. But here's the thing, with COVID, there is funding out there. You don't need to have super insurance or a lot of money to get help because COVID is considered not only a physical pandemic, it's considered a mental medical emergency where you can get help for things. So,
because being locked up in a room, and see, that's part of my depression is I get very antisocial, and I don't like, number one, I don't like people.
Yeah, I've seen pictures of you at Disney World.
Yeah. I don't like being around a lot of people I don't know. It makes me nervous, and I won't get into that. But a lot of people are stuck at home, and you will get depressed looking at the same 4 walls.
Yeah, and we're actually going to discuss a little bit more about that in our next video because we have another one.
Yes.
That deals with this.
Yes.
Because now we're going to talk about after when this video ends. Pay attention, because in just a few minutes I'm going to release another one right after I post this one, where we get to put our dad hats on. Yeah, keep that one on. That there's lights and
it's
the glare.
Yeah,
we don't need to be blinding people with your bald head, bro.
I hate you.
Thanks, Mike. Don't hate me because I'm beautiful. Love you, buddy.
Love you too, bro.